Today in our 2012 Toyota 4Runner, we're going to be doing a test fit on the Yakima Bar Timberline Tower Roof Rack system. Now this system is specifically designed to mount to your raised rails on your 4Runner. As you can see, I've already got it in place just to give you a good idea of what it looks like. Now with this, you're going to be able to carry roof mount accessories, things like bike racks, kayak carriers, cargo boxes, and more. It features 50-inch long steel crossbars. You can see here how they span across the whole roof. That way you'll be able to carry not one or two bike racks, but maybe 3 bike racks if that's what you're into, possibly even 2 kayaks. Now I mentioned that they are steel. These compared to other crossbars are going to have a higher weight capacity, so that's what sets these aside from the others. You can see that steel inside here, so you're not going to be able to use those T-slot accessories. If that's something you're interested in, you can check out the Yakima Jetstream crossbar. But again, they're going to have a higher weight capacity at 220 pounds. That's a step up compared to some of the other systems out there. And they're going to work with your standard clamp-on accessories. Now 4 Timberline towers hold your core bar in place. You can see them here. This is what clamps around that raised rail. It actually features a rubber-coated stainless steel strap. That way it doesn't harm or scratch that finish. Underneath our cover here, you can see how it hides and protects our hardware, deters theft, and also protects it from the elements. Once everything's tightened on, the cover goes back on. If you'd like, you can knock out that plastic core and replace it with a metal locking core, key to like. That way one key operates every tower and you can have more security. Now up here on top of the 4Runner, I did mention that the weight capacity was 220 pounds. You do want to double check with your 4Runner's owner's manual to see if your roof can support that much weight. Now I'll give you some clearance measurements. This will give you a good idea of how much you've added to the roof of your 4Runner, and also may help you when using those clamp-on accessories. From the top of the roof at the highest point here to the underside of the bar is about 3¼ of an inch, and from the top of the roof to the top of the bar is about 4 inches. Now that we've gone over the features, I'll go ahead and show you how to get them set up. I've already got that front core bar in place, mounted to my raised rails in my 4Runner. The rear one installs the same way. Let's go ahead and do it together. So on my little white table here, I've got it set up. One side is good. We just need to repeat the same process on the other side. So we can start by grabbing that Timberline tower. We're going to remove the front cover here and undo the strap. Now we've got some adapters we need to install for our core bar. Now these are included with the core bar. We'll take the plastic portion here and we're going to click it in place right here on top. And then we'll take the core bar sleeve. You can see how it slides over there and holds the core bar in place. We need to put it on our tower. Now we want to be sure we put it on correctly. The Timberline tower needs to be facing the correct way, and since we're working on this side here, we want to put it this direction. So I'm going to hold it in place and turn it over, and we'll need to tighten up the Allen bolt through this hole here. Now the easiest way to access it is to push the strap all the way forward, and that kind of opens up that hole. We'll take the tool and start tightening that down. And we're going to tighten it down all the way. And once we hear the audible click in our tool, that's how we know it's properly torqued down. Just like that. Now with it tightened down, we still need to be sure that it's a little bit loose. And what causes that to happen is the Allen bolt inside. So if it's not loose enough, we'll need to loosen it up in here. And by doing that, it's going to allow us to easily slide it onto that core bar. With that being said, we're ready to slide it on. We'll lift it up and just push it on like so. We'll take that end cap and slide that. And then I want to show you underneath here really quick that we don't need to tighten this down to our bar. We'll just leave it loosely installed. That way we can adjust it later on top of our roof to get that correct bar overhang on each side. Now when we set it in place, we want to be sure that that round portion of the bar is facing forward. You can see here it's got that larger. That is the front. Now we can really set this anywhere we want on our raised rails, but we want to set it up to where it's going to work best with our accessories. Once we've got it in place, we'll be sure that that strap goes underneath, and we need to connect it to the hooks here. So I'm going to do this for both sides. Now we need to be sure we have the same crossbar spread on each side. Again, you want to be sure to set it up to where it's going to work best with your accessories. But I'm going to measure center on center and make sure it's the same. Now we need to be sure we have the same bar overhang on each side. That's going to be the distance between here and here. Now you're welcome to use a tape measure for this, or you can just eye it up. So we can just give it a good push until it's the same on each side. I'd say that looks pretty good. And then we can tighten up that Allen bolt here on the inside. And by doing this, it's going to lock that top adapter to our bar so it cannot shift from side to side. Once that's done, we can then move over to this one. And that draws the strap up underneath and locks that in a position. Again, for both, you want to listen for the audible click in our tool. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is you want the Timberline tower to be centered with the top of the rail. So you can see it's got a little indicator here. You just want that planted directly on top. So if you've got it set up like this, you're all set. Go ahead and repeat the same process on the other side. Once everything's assembled and installed correctly, the last thing to do is to put on our cover, and we're ready to load up our favorite roof mount accessories and hit the road. But that's going to complete our test fit of the Yakima Core Bar Timberline Tower Roof Rack System on our 2012 Toyota 4Runner.